I hate Jordan Shusterman more than the Yankees and Red Sox hate each other now, and that's a problem.
Damn.
Hello and welcome to Baseball Barbacast, the only baseball podcast in the world willing to say that Yankees Red Sox isn't what it used to be. I'm Jake Mintz. That's Jordan Shusterman. And is it a rivalry if you're all friends?
Well, that is an interesting place to start because that's not where I was going to go with this. Are they all friends? Let's just go there. You were around the Yankees and Red Sox before Sunday Night Baseball yesterday. Is that where the rivalry kind of loses its luster? Because for me, I can imagine there's some folks tuning into the first Red Sox Yankees series of the year and looking at the Red Sox lineup and being like, I'm sorry, who's batting third, fourth, fifth, and sixth? And then they kick their ass and now everybody knows who Abraham Toro and Carlos Narvaez are.
Love it. Well, they should have known who Carlos Narvaez is before because he was on the Yankees.
True.
True. Quick theory about this is that Alex Cora and Aaron Boone are friendly because they work together.
What a
ESPN.
shame.
And so, like, whenever there's a beef that could bubble up, they're like, hey, yo, what's up?
We're fine. We were TV colleagues. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That was kind of a long time ago at this point. But
True.
Yes, it does feel like there is maybe a little bit less animosity.
We had a little bit of spice this weekend. Yeah. Had a little spice this weekend with Hunter Dobbins calling out the Yankees and Jazz Chisholm clapping back. We'll get to all of that. We're not going to start with the Red Sox Yankees because, it is omnipresent. As we always do on Monday mornings, we are going to start with how sweep it is.
Clean up, everybody, everywhere.
There is no shame in getting swept. I never got swept. You guys got swept.
4 teams went undefeated this weekend. No opportunities. It was 3-game series only, and 4 teams took full advantage. We begin in San Francisco. Now, was this the most impressive series win, series sweep of the weekend? No, but it involves the 2 most teams that I think deserve the most attention at this stage, for better or for worse, and that is the Giants over the Braves on Friday. Now, remember, Friday, let's rewind to last week, okay? So on Wednesday, we have a conversation that's like, ooh, man, Braves not going so great. They're not feeling so awesome about where this is trending. Then Scott Blewett and Raisel Iglesias blow a 6-run lead as they get swept by the Diamondbacks at home. On Friday, we talked about that and we said, oh my gosh, they have to now fly cross country and play the Giants, who are like a pretty good team. Like, this is not an awesome situation here to have to go over there. And then it was like, well, it can't get worse than that, blowing a 6-run lead at home. And it got worse. Friday night, this is a game that is pretty close. It feels like, the Braves are going to finally break out of it. No, they lose in the 10th. A walk-off wild pitch from Pierce Johnson. Giants walk it off. Craig Kimbrell pitches in that game. Okay, so let's take note of that.
Just in that game.
Just in that game. Well, this is important, right? So Craig Kimbrell throws a scoreless 6th, I believe. And it's like, wow, what a story. Here we go. Craig Kimbrell coming to save the Braves bullpen. We said on Friday, I said, Jake, over under 4.5 saved for Craig Kimbrell and the Braves. You said over. I said 9.5. You said over. Yeah. He made it 1 appearance and was DFA'd. Let's talk about this quickly before we move on to the rest of the series, because it seems that we maybe I think it seems like a lot of people had a misunderstanding of what was going on here.
I think that the Braves, this is so embarrassing, dude. Look, this happens all the time with pitchers. Bring a guy up, eats an inning, thanks for the mems, hit the road jack, right?
We'll ask you to do it again in 2 months.
Sure. This is like what's happening right now with like Chris Stratton and the Dodgers, right? But here's the thing. Craig Kimbrell is a little bit more important than that. And it appears that Craig Kimbrell did not know that this was the plan, right? And if you're going to have a franchise icon come back to you for the purpose of having him, build up in the minor leagues for 2 months to use him for an inning across the country and then jettison him is just very weird. It's just weird. Because if you wanted to do farewell to Craig Kimbrell, one last go, what a career. Do it at home.
Yeah.
And so
also, that's why this seemed to be a disconnect, because clearly Craig Kimbrell still believes he has something to give, which might mean that he goes back to AAA Gwinnett and is ready for the next opportunity and tries to keep pitching. But I agree. This sequence was just very strange that I think caught a lot of people off guard.
Well, and it's not like there was a way the Braves could have framed this, I think, where they didn't build up Kimbrell's return. But you have them tweeting, "Welcome back, Craig," with a heart, with like signs that fans had in San Francisco. Then he makes his appearance and it says, "This is just an amazing 3 tweets here from the Braves." Okay. "Now pitching for your Atlanta Braves, number 46, Craig Kimbrell, ! With Kimbrell striking out Wilmer Flores. Next tweet, final, Giants 5, Braves 4. Next tweet, the Braves today recalled left-handed pitcher Austin Cox to Atlanta and designated right-handed pitcher Craig Kimbrell for assignment." What?
Yeah, and it's not that like Craig Kimbrell is owed anything, obviously, with the way that his career, I mean, he is and he isn't, right? He is in the sense that, as you're pointing out, it felt like he would be someone that if we're going to work his way back towards this emotional return to being a Brave, that this would not be the sequence of events for him to make his appearance. But also, as other people point out, like, it's not like Craig Kimbrell, as enthusiastic as we may have been on Friday, it's not like he is maybe still one of the best relievers in the world.
No.
But also, with the Brave situation right now, this is the other thing as we zoom back out. It's like, it'd be one thing if the Braves were 10 games over 500 and they could work him into a game and then, shuttle him back because their bullpen is healthy and awesome and Craig Kimbrell obviously isn't good enough to be pitching for them. Right now, we were kind of like, well, maybe he can help them. I mean, how bad could he be? I mean, even if it is in the 6th and 7th innings and lower leverage, like that would still be cool to see Craig Kimbrell maybe pitch for the Braves for a few months or the rest of the season in a lower leverage role. And instead, this is how it goes. And I just don't totally understand it. So maybe he comes back. Maybe he goes back to Gwinnett, or the weirdest thing that could happen is that someone else would claim him and he ends up pitching somewhere else. That would truly be bizarre, but I
pitching well that somewhere else.
Yeah, that would really be something. Anyway, okay, so Craig Kimbrell throws one in and gets the effect. Next game, then it's like, oh man, another tough one. Okay, well, now this time the Braves have something cooking. Saturday, Bryce Elder is balling out. I mean, this is not only, okay, we've seen Bryce Elder pitch deep into ball games. I mean, that's fine. He'll do that sometimes. A lot of weak contact. Oh, there's another ground ball straight to the second baseman. Oh, there's another weak pop fly. No. Bryce Elder was dealing 12 strikeouts, career high, 8 innings, and the Braves are winning. And then they're not. Matt Chapman hits a walk-off home run, down by 1 in the bottom of the 9th, off who else but Pierce Johnson, who allows a walk-off for the second day in a row. And Giants win again. They win that 3-2. Then on Sunday, Spencer Strider, looking for his first win of the season. He's okay. Like, he's been bad in his first 4 starts. This was like, okay, this is like a decent starting pitcher. Him and Landon Roop both go 6 innings. But the 3 earned runs that Spencer Strider allows over 6 is just a few too many. And the Giants bullpen, which has a case for being the best in baseball, just slams the door after Landon Roop. And the Giants win another 1-run game, 4-3, to sweep the Atlanta Braves, who are now 9-19 in 1-run games. So Red Sox fans, don't worry, it can get worse. The Braves have lost 7 in a row. The Giants have won 5 in a row. Would you like to let's talk about the Braves briefly, and then let's give the Giants some love. Have you changed your tone since Friday?
That was really bad.
Or I guess since Wednesday, I should say.
They lost 3 more 1-run games, dude.
Yep.
Every single game they lost over the weekend was 1 run. I think I am ready for a hot take. I am more pessimistic now that the Braves have lost 7 in a row than I was beforehand. Dude, they just lost 3 checked out.
Yeah.
Snitker looks like he wants to be on a beach somewhere. It's the firing your third base coach is just bizarre.
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is not going to save them. And I think like the path to them figuring it out is what? It is all the kind of second level hitters being better. Michael Harris being better. Verdugo giving you something. Albies has been terrible. And then it's like the Olsen Riley group elevating even further and just having Ronald be on the field every day. I would say that for Strider, my concern level right now is long-term minimal, short-term high. I think it's just going to take him more time to get back to what he was. I think he will eventually do that. Whether he does it in time to save this Braves season, I don't know. I think as a whole, the Braves still need to be considered in the wild card race just because of the talent that is on this roster, which sounds preposterous when you gander at the standings. And it's, they're 9 back of a wild card spot, 10 games under 500.
Yeah.
But if I told you that on August 17th, the Braves were 3 back, you would not be shocked. And there are lots of reasons to be concerned, but there's just so much talent that it's like, you can't bury them yet.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I did mostly just want your Strider take. So thank you for sharing that. A lot's been written and said about Strider recently. Now 0-5. I mean, it's as simple as right now he's pitching at 96 instead of 98. And so far that is just not quite good enough. So I think I don't think he'll never return to being one of the best pitchers in baseball, but right now it's not someone that you're looking and being like, oh yeah, Strider. Well, Strider's pitching, so they're going to win. I mean, so far they're 0-5 when he pitches, and so we'll see how long it takes him to kind of get back to that. And as for those playoff odds, they're now down at Fangraphs to 26%, which is still pretty good for 27 and 37, but is a whole lot lower than the 93% they started the season with. So the Braves are no bueno. Meanwhile, enough about Atlanta. The Giants. Let's give the Gigantes some love. Now, listen, it's 3 one-run victories, right? It's not like they absolutely kicked their ass. And this is still an offense that has been stuck in the mud a little bit far too often. I mean, they've only scored more than... There was some stat where they had scored, 4 runs or fewer in 16 or 17 straight games. This is still the concern. This is still a very lopsided team in terms of what you're counting on. When I did my power rankings last week, I said they are a better or more extreme, more expensive version of the Royals in this sense, where now for Kansas City is a little bit more of a starting pitching than bullpen. But from a run prevention standpoint, this is one of the best teams in baseball right now, indisputably. But on offense, it's just not awesome. And so now there's some big names, in this lineup. Willie Adames has not been performing at the level that they would like him to. Chapman has generally been good. Of course, he had a nice weekend. We know that they made some shakeups. They moved on from Lamont Wade, who was really struggling this season. But this pitching and this bullpen in particular is going to keep them relevant. I feel really good about that. And then obviously Logan Webb, we've given him a lot of love. Robbie Ray has been fantastic. This is another one of the X factors that I kind of named coming into the season. He's got a lower ERA than Logan Webb through his 13 starts. Roop has really settled in. Verlander's injured right now, and Hicks was kind of a disaster. But when your bullpen is this good, I mean, even having 3.5 good starters is enough. And we'll see where that offense kind of comes from. I am still curious what this lineup ends up looking like, but by the end of the season, and if they make an aggressive deal at the deadline. I am fascinated for Buster Posey's first trade deadline. I am so excited for that. I don't know what it's going to look like. And
he's going to trade for every freaking clubhouse guy.
It's one of the things I am most excited for in July is what the Giants do, what Buster Posey does. They still do not have a very good farm system to deal from, so that might make it challenging. But the Giants pitching is at a point now where I am not going to discount them for a postseason spot. Basically, no matter what, they're 1 game behind the Dodgers. They finally play the Dodgers for the first time this coming weekend. And while this offense, again, Ramos has been very good. Jung-Hoo Lee has cooled off big time. Other than that, it's pretty quiet outside of Chapman. So But I'm in on the Giants as a team that we are going to be talking about for the remainder of the season. I think their pitching is just too good to just not be relevant.
Let's move on to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who swept the Philadelphia Phillies in Pittsburgh in the return leg of the Poop Bowl. Phillies go bullpen game in game one. Bailey Falter not very good for the Pirates, but their bullpen's good enough. Henry Davis goes yard. Jordan Romano, Phillies closer, gives up another one on a walk-off sac fly. Pirates win 5-4. Game two, Andrew Heaney, sensational. Big trade chip. Again, it feels like. Maybe that's a disrespectful to say, but the Pirates still not very good. Phillies' only homer is a Kyle Schwarber solo blast. Pirates win 2-1. Speaking of the Pirates winning 2-1, they won 2-1 on Sunday, as well as Paul Skeens did a good job at pitching, going 7 2/3, allowing one unearned run, and was in line for the loss. But the Pirates show up with a Kutch go-ahead RBI single. Which, did you see this play?
I actually didn't. Well, I did not see this clip.
Let's just say he didn't get all of it. It was
Who cares,
broken
man?
bat.
I don't care how hard you're hitting at this point. And by the way, Andrew McCutchen's been doing his part. As bad as this Pirates offense has been, he has been one of their best hitters.
I want to talk about Kutch very quickly for a second. So good job, Pirates. You swept the Phillies. Sweep 3 more series, and then maybe we could start thinking about you.
Hey, got to start somewhere. This is their first sweep of the year. Their first sweep of the Phillies in 10 years. So I'll give the Pirates more love. But talk about Kutch. Talk about Kutch.
So Kutch is now on this weird rolling 1-year lifetime tenure type contract with the Pirates, right? Where he just wants to be on not meh, but like he is content, which is fine, being on these substandard Pirates teams because it is comfortable, right? He left, he saw the world, he came back, you know? I would be really curious to know, would he be willing to like do 2.5 months of like a loan deal in English soccer with the Brewers again, or the Cubs or whatever, and then just come back to the Pirates next year? Because at the deadline, like, he's a valuable bat on a 1-year deal that a team could use as a bench righty. Like, he's pretty good still.
Yeah, I don't want to overrate him too much, but he does have a 353 OBP. He's obviously not playing defense anymore.
Sure.
So that's a thing, and he's 38. But yeah, I mean, we've seen worse hitters get traded at the deadline, and presumably if Andrew McCutchen wanted to get traded, that he would. I doubt it. I guess I'll just leave it at that. I sure, if he has an itch to go be in a wild card race, I suppose the organization feels likely to grant him that. But
it's so weird.
I don't know.
Why is this so weird?
No, I agree. So
why wouldn't he want to go do that? Like, you want to hang? You want to be on this bad Pirates team for another irrelevant August and September, or like you come back to
Pittsburgh.
But
it's not new. Like, Andrew McCutchen just wants to be on the Pirates. It's not like we can't be acting surprised anymore. So
he can
maybe
be on
this is what I say. Maybe he'll have a change of heart, and maybe if they keep losing and they don't sweep the next 3 series, that he says this is a waste of my time. But all indications are that Andrew McCutchen wants to be on the Pirates more than really anything else, and God bless him.
Yeah. Phillies.
Paul Skeens is well, just quickly on the Pirates. Whatever, they're still way back. They're 7 games behind the Reds for 4th, so it's not like this really gets them back into it. Henry Davis showing signs of life is very encouraging. It's been a winding road to get Henry Davis regular playing time, and obviously
it's not been winding. It's not been a winding road. It's just been, for Henry Davis, it's just there's been no road. He's looked like winding feels
what
too
I was about to say is he has not taken advantage of the opportunities when he's gotten them, but also the opportunities have been very strange and sporadic and dependent on injuries and dependent on they're putting him in the outfield, and then they're like, no, Joey Bard is our guy, and Yasmani Grandal's playing over him. Like, again, like I said, Henry has not exactly done enough to warrant the everyday playing time until more recently, But now we are seeing that is a small silver lining in what is another otherwise disappointing season. Paul Skeens continues to be an absolute beast. We're just like it's just rinse repeat. I mean, we're not even processing that he is having somehow even a better season than last year. It's like fewer strikeouts, but basically everything else is better or as good. And that
I would argue that that's on purpose, the fewer strikeouts.
Oh, of course. I'm not saying
he wants to go deeper into games.
I'm just saying statistically, that's the one thing that stands out is like not the same as last year, but he's been just unbelievable. Anyway, Phillies. Okay, Phillies have lost 9 of 10.
Bad.
Their run differential is down to plus 15, which is not reflective of a team that I picked to win the World Series, or I still believe is one of the best in baseball. Bryce Harper's on the injured list right now with a wrist issue, which is not great.
The BBL.
They're
the boo-boo list. The boo-boo list.
The boo-boo list. They are hanging on to the third NL wildcard spot right now. More concerning is that they're about to play the Cubs, who definitely know how to score. And if the Phillies offense is going to look like what it did against the Pirates against the Cubs, that's probably bad strategy, as the Cubs normally score more runs than the Pirates. So I'm sticking with the Phillies. I feel good about them long term. They got Zach Wheeler. It's going to pitch this week, but where are you at? Where are you at here with Philadelphia? Is this the swoon again? Last year, right? It was just a very slow decline in the second half. This year, they didn't start as good. Then they got hot in May. Now we're kind of cooling off again. I'm fine here if we're going to go back and forth. Losing 9 of 10 is never a good thing, but I'm not too concerned yet.
The problem is every time they do this and they just don't hit for multiple games in a row, the entire city of Philadelphia just thinks about the end of the 2023 NLCS, where they're just swinging at pitches outside the zone and they can't score. And it's like, it just has this PTSD effect. Let's talk in September. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs.
If Bryce is fine, I'm fine. I think it is kind of that simple. I mean, we should listen. They've losing 9 of 10 is bad. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of games to lose, especially getting swept by the Pirates. Being the first team to get swept by the Pirates is not good. But let's see how it goes if they can get a little bit healthier. Speaking of the NL Central, oh my gosh, the Cincinnati Reds take all 3 from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Remember, Arizona, with that dramatic sweep of Atlanta, in Atlanta, they take that momentum to Cincinnati, and they just get kind of smacked around by the Cincinnati Reds. Game 1, this game gets suspended in the top of the 7th in a tie game, but it resumes on Saturday, and the Reds walk it off. Christian Encarnacion Strand, who had a massive weekend, has the walk-off double in game 1. Then in game 2, Nick Martinez was fantastic. Ryan Nelson and Kendall Graveman were not. Reds win 13-1. Oh my goodness, helping that run differential that's way better than you think. Game 3, CES homers again. 3rd straight game with a homer since he got back from the IL. Zach Allen was actually pretty good, but they leave him in there and he gives up a go-ahead homer to Matt McClain in the 7th. Brady Singer was solid. The Reds win game 3, 4-2. The Reds are back to 500 at 33-33, but they're still in 4th place. They are coming to Cleveland to try and claim the Ohio Cup. Terry Francona making his return to Cleveland. I believe I will be there later today, depending on a few things, but I'm looking forward to seeing the Reds, the team I used to be around all the time. But they're still in 4th. Again, a lot more to prove here. Run differential looks good. You're still in 4th place. You're still at 500. I still have not seen the Reds actually capture real momentum, and that is why we have not taken them very seriously. As for Arizona, we're in yikes mode. Now, listen, you just swept the Braves. That would be good, but we know the Braves are in even more of a bad situation. And so now we look at the Arizona Diamondbacks at 31-34, 6.5 back of San Francisco and San Diego. And Corbin Burnes needs Tommy John. We're going to talk about Corbin Burnes more specifically later, but besides Corbin Burnes being out for the year, which is, of course, the biggest news, Arizona, in a way that, like, are we moving towards pushing them to a part? Like, okay, who you got? Arizona, Atlanta. Arizona is, what, I guess they're only 4 games up on Atlanta. I'm curious what their playoff odds are relative to the Braves. They are basically identical. They're basically both at like 24, 25%.
Give me the Braves. I think there's no way the Braves sell at the deadline because Anthopoulos isn't wired that way. And I think the way the Diamondback season is trending right now, that they will be the biggest sellers at the deadline because of how many impending free agent pieces they have to move.
Yep.
You could see Gallen go, right?
Yep.
You could see Eugenio Suarez go. You could see Josh Naylor go. And if they do decide to pull the Merrill Kelly go, you can see them pulling the plug and being kind of the belle of the ball at the deadline, like having the keys to it, because there's no obvious MFer out there that we usually see during the trade deadline. The Diamondbacks can package guys together. They can do it all separately. And because this rotation stinks and will not have a path back to being better now that Burnes is down, my prediction will be they continue to be bad and eventually pull the plug. And for that reason, I would take the Braves over them.
Yeah, and I think it's just being in the NL West is very relevant to that. I think it's a lot harder to be like, well, maybe. Not that the NL East is that much easier for Atlanta, but I agree. It's more about where they are as organizations and then the kind of the makeup of their roster. We'll talk about Corbin Burnes later. Let's do our fourth and final sweep of the weekend. The Mets. Now, this was, let's not pretend like this was an easy task here. You had a red hot Rockies squad coming home to an invigorated fan base ready to cheer on a possible W4 for the Colorado Rockies. Turns out the Mets are better than the Marlins. That is the takeaway from the weekend. The Rockies battled for these first 13 innings.
Then they're good.
And then it kind of got out of hand. Francisco Lindor, as we know, has a broken toe. He's playing through it. He gave the Mets a lead late in game one with a 2 RBI double. Kodai Senga, very quietly, also part of the NL Cy Young conversation. Doesn't have as many innings, but his ERA is 1.59. Mets win 4-2 on Friday. Game 2, Clay Holmes is quite good. Ronnie Mauricio hits his first homer of the season. An absolute moonshot, even with Coors Field. This one was just truly crushed. A reminder of Ronnie Mo's physical abilities. And the Mets cruised to that one, 8-1. On Sunday, we got a Tyler McGill, Paul Blackburn piggyback, goes all 9 innings. Chase Dollander struggles for the Rockies. The Mets offense we are stat padding big time on Sunday. We get 2 homers for Jeff McNeil. We get 2 homers for Pete Alonso. Juan Soto goes 3 for 3 with 3 walks, which is one hell of a day. Pete Alonso, most notably, passing David Wright for second on the all-time Mets home run list. He is just 9 behind Darryl Strawberry. He will pass him at some point soon. The Mets are 4.5 games up on the Phillies. They have the best record in the National League at 42-24. The Rockies do not have the best record in the National League. They have the worst record in Major League Baseball at 12-53. They have a minus 198 run differential. They are on pace to win 30 games. This was the 10th time they were swept this season.
Take a guess what the average attendance was this weekend at Coors Field.
I saw some tweets about this. It's got to be 36,000 ish.
37,905 on average for the weekend to watch a team that is tumbling towards the worst in history. Yes, the Mets have something to do with that. They draw, but it's baseball's best beer garden, baby.
Yeah. Rockies though, they're battling. They're not. They're doing their best. But Mets,
not really.
But hey, credit to the Mets. Take care of business.
TCB,
that
baby.
First game, it was like, oh my gosh, here we go. Giving them a fight. Because at this point, I mean, truly this season, every time the Rockies are winning after the 5th inning, I'm locked in. I didn't even feel like I felt that way about the White Sox last year. I mean, maybe early on in the year, but this feels like every Rockies win is going to be an event. And it felt like we were maybe going there on Friday, but then it was just, Mets really piled on there. So good for the Mets. They are opening up nicely, taking advantage of the Phillies' struggles there. And right, it's a good example, right? You take care of business against the Rockies, Phillies get swept by the Pirates. Anything else on this series before we take a break?
Nope.
We will be right back on Baseball Barbacast to cover 4 more notable series from the weekend. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. I hate Jordan Shusterman more than the Yankees and Red Sox hate each other now, and that's a problem.
Damn.
I'm kidding.
All right, not sure what to make of that. I think I know the point you're trying to make. Let's talk about Red Sox and the Yankees. I know you had some non-baseball obligations this weekend, so you attended one of these games, some of these games. What was your, I don't know how much you were around these games.
Stayed for the entirety of game 1. Very disgusting rain-delayed slog. Walker Buehler was Garbajo in the first inning. Big game from Jazz. Yanks tried to cough it up. They held on. Devin Williams locking down the 9th, looking totally Devin Williams-y. Game 2, another ugly slog. Yarbrough against Crochet. 2 lefties, very different, going after it. Neither were good, but when Ryan Yarbrough is bad and Garrett Crochet is bad, Ryan Yarbrough, because he throws 89, is going to be worse than Garrett Crochet because he throws like 97. So it goes. So it went. Red Sox, Palma Yarbrough, big games from Romy Gonzalez, Trevor Story, Abraham Toro, Honest Abe, Judge over 4-3 Ks, DFA. Red Sox win 10-7. Game 3. We have some pregame beef where Red Sox pitcher Hunter Dobbins says he would rather retire than play for the Yankees, which is not true. It's not true. It's just not true.
Right. To me, it's like it is less about it being some sort of shot at the Yankees as much as it's just such a patently absurd thing for a rookie to say. Like, it'd be one thing if Hunter Dobbins had already made $50 million.
Yeah, dude,
and was and has been on the Red Sox for 5 years and has faced the Yankees 20 times and has developed an intense loyalty to the Red Sox and intense hatred of the Yankees, and was like, you know what? I've done all I need to do in this game. If the Yankees want me to pay for them, I'm done. I'm
like Veritek. Like if
Sure.
Veritek said this at the end,
sure,
you'd be like, yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but he's
from Texas. This guy's from Texas. He's not like from Southie.
To me, this is more about the lack of plausibility than it is a like shot at the Yankees, and it's hilarious. That's
Correct.
why it's funny to me. So anyway,
Aaron Boone
Hunter
said
Dobbins.
this.
Then it's like, of course,
Aaron Boone's
go?
like, this is a hypothetical, guys. Like, this is it's not real.
Aaron Boone handled it great. I thought Aaron Boone was like, he was like, he's young, he really loves his team. Moving on. Anyway, then Aaron Judge hits a ball 5 million feet off Hunter Dobbins in the first inning, and everyone's like, oh, Hunter Dobbins, you're such a clown. And then Hunter Dobbins just kind of settles down and is fine for 5 innings. He has 0 strikeouts and 0 walks, but 5 innings and I think 2 or 3 runs is good enough when the Red Sox score 1 billion runs for the second day in a row. 5 homers for the Red Sox, tying a record for the most homers by the Red Sox in a game at Yankee Stadium. How about that? New current Yankee Stadium, not like all Yankee Stadiums ever. This was just bad pitching from the Yankees. I mean, Carlos Rodon was good for 4 innings and then he kind of lost it. And then the Yankees bullpen did not make things any better.
Hunter Dobbins being the spark of this is so funny because his last name is Dobbins. Like if he was, it's just the perfect, slightly dorky, but also generic name to be the kindling of this. I hope it's also because it's like Yankee fans are now going to boo Hunter Dobbins loudly, which is also funny. Like it's like Dobbins versus Chisholm.
But here's the reverse of that. Here's the reverse of that. When they play in Boston, which I think is this weekend, I believe they're now already playing again. If presumably Hunter Dobbins will start,
heroes welcome.
He's getting an absolute loudest ovation yet. Which, by the way, also macro point: Hunter Dobbins, Red Sox pitcher, mostly doing his job, which is like not really happening for a lot of the Red Sox pitchers. So credit to rookie Hunter Dobbins for being okay. But the story in this game is twofold. it's the Red Sox hitting 5 home runs, including Carlos Narvaez, former Yankee, including Christian Campbell, rookie who's been struggling, including Abraham Toro, who's suddenly solved their first base issues, Trevor Story, who's been one of the worst hitters in baseball this year and now has, consecutive multi-hit games, and then Rafael Devers, who seemed to be like battling some sort of groin injury. Like he didn't run hard to first and everyone's like, oh, he's not hustling. And then Alex Cora was like, no, he's probably injured. And then right when we're worried that Rafael Devers is injured, he hits a ball to outer space late in this game. And it's like, oh, he's fine. He's going to be okay. Meanwhile, Aaron Judge has 2 homers again, and he has 23 home runs. But the Yankees lose their 3rd consecutive game in which Aaron Judge hits 2 homers. So I'm not sure what to make of that.
He should hit fewer homers or just hit a 3rd one. The Yankees pitching, I think, is going to be okay. Weird blip. You had Ryan Yarbrough has been really strong for them, and he's also not the sustainable answer. So for him to have a bad outing against a good hitting team is not shocking. And Rodon has, he was a couple pitches, he always is when he's bad, a couple pitches away from getting out of it, right? Probably pull him after 5. So the pitching wasn't good enough this weekend. It's not panic stations for me. This weekend from the Red Sox, I'm more interested in because it is a reminder as to why this team has been so infuriating. Last year, when the output was mid, it was because the team was mid, right? Part of what's so frustrating about this group right now is that they're better, that the talent level is higher, particularly on the offensive side. This team can rake. When you have, honest Abe Toro and, the bottom of the lineup, killing the ball, that's over. These guys are good, right? But then you look at the real problem, which is just the pitching staff isn't getting outs, right? Then you say, okay, why isn't the pitching staff getting outs?
Getting paid?
Pitchers that are getting paid are not getting outs. Now, I would say Walker Buehler just doesn't have it right now. Lucas Giolito just doesn't have it right now. But you also have a dynamic where the Red Sox are turning batted balls into outs at a very low rate.
True.
And why are they doing that? Because everyone's playing out of position, basically. Not everyone, but
they have Cedar Rafaela is one of the best defenders in the league in center. And then everything else, and I guess Abreu, right, is good and right. But other than that, whatever. They lead the league in errors for recent, or I guess second of the Rockies. No, I think they have more than the Rockies now. And so it's a huge flaw. It's not helping the pitching staff, obviously. And also the pitching staff isn't very good. So you just are in for a lot of games. And then you have situations like last night where, why does Chapman have to pitch in that game? I mean, Robert Stock, I love you, man, but what are we doing? I mean, I don't know if it's because it's on him for the fact that Chapman had to pitch in that game is just a collective failure, you know? And so you've just had too many of those moments, and it's a great series win for sure. You got to feel good that you can beat the Yankees in a situation like that and outslug them. But long term, it's tough to trust.
The Story Campbell up the middle defensive combo is not a sustainable path forward. They are both very bad there. And when it's like, oh, I thought that guy threw pretty well. And then you look up and they lost. It's because of that over time. Casas was not good at first. Duran is meh in left. David Hamilton was not the answer up the middle either. Abe Toro and Romy aren't saving anybody's ass at the corner spots. It's just Willier
Myers
and
now
Cedar
playing third, who he wasn't playing third. He's just a rookie play, and so then once again, it comes back to the other question of okay, when are we going to see Roman Anthony? But I get that, but the Red Sox. And yes, I understand that they have had stretches where the offense looked bad, and that's why you're calling for Roman Anthony, and he is, of course, one of their best hitters. But he is going to add to this mess of a defensive group.
Sure.
For better or for worse. I hope we still see it soon, because he's hitting 500-foot homers in AAA. But that's going to be another thing for Alex Cora to literally manage.
And if you don't want him to have to feel like he's going to be the savior, the longer you wait, the more that's going to be the dynamic.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's true. The last thing on the Red Sox before we move on is just their first innings. I didn't know about this
Super
until
weird.
last week. They have a 7.12 ERA in the first inning this year, which is one of the 20 worst marks in baseball history. For reference, the Rockies this year have an 8.58, which is the worst in the first inning of all time. But that's their issue. And we saw it with Hunter Dobbins last night, and we saw it a lot of other times. They just give up runs in the first inning, and then they are in a hole from there. Anyway, Red Sox continue to confound. Let's go to Detroit. World Series preview, Jake Mintz?
Hope so.
Tigers, Cubs?
We'll be cold as hell, but it'll be great. We could drive.
That would be it would be, I mean, not only would it be a huge win for me personally, what a great like Midwest balancing out after Yankees Dodgers would be.
I'd be all in. Tigers Cubs would be great. Big series for like North Face as a company.
I was gonna say we'd be bundling up like I'd all the layers that I just packed away because it's summer now. Like I'd be just rolling through those in October. It'd be great. I'd be all for it.
As a scarf guy, I mean,
you would want 7 games for sure. So that you
give it to me.
Max out
as a glove guy.
Oh man, yeah, it would just be great. Anyway, sorry, do we sound biased? We don't want Yankees Dodgers again. Tigers take 2 of 3 over the Cubs. This is in Detroit. On Friday, you're not going to believe this. Tarek Skubal pitched well.
No.
Last 11 starts, he now has 95 strikeouts and 3 walks. That is hilarious. But Ben Brown was also very good, but not good enough. Tigers won again. Spencer Torkelson home run. Jahmai Jones home run. He's on the Tigers now.
The boys are back in town.
Tigers win 3-1. Game 2, Cubs offense responds. 4 home runs. Suzuki, Michael Busch, PCA, Matt Shaw. Jameson Taillon's great on the hill. The Tyler Holden Cater Montero recipe does not go as planned as it usually does for the Tigers. Cubs win 6-1. Game 3, Jack Flaherty has kind of been turning it on lately. 4th straight quality start for him. And Cade Horton pitched like a rookie. He was fine, but not good enough. Kerry Carpenter has 3 hits. Tigers win 4-0. Tigers have the best record in baseball at 43-24. They are 7 games up on the Twins and Guardians. Cubs only 4 games up on St. Louis, but they have the best run differential in baseball at plus 105. What were your takeaways from this series?
These teams are both good.
Oh, nice.
And when they play each other, like one of them has to lose more games. So the Cubs don't need to panic. Tigers are really good too. Seiya Suzuki is so underrated to me.
He's so good.
He is a catastrophe in the outfield defensively, which is okay. Like that's not what he's being paid to do. He's being paid to rake, and this guy rakes, man. He's got a 150 OPS plus right now. He's a needle moving offensive player, and if he could stay healthy, that's huge. The Cubs currently, their entire starting lineup has OPS pluses over 100, which, I mean, Horner 100, Dansby 104, Matt Shaw 101, Ian Happ 103. I understand that's something.
Matt Shaw 101, like, think about the hole that he was in after his start.
Sure.
I mean, he's really, really turned it. I actually want to see what he's been hitting since he got back. He had,
think about it this way.
839 OPS for Matt Shaw, who I believe is like hitting 9th.
The Cubs
since he got back in 18 games.
The Cubs have 4 hitters that are average, which is great, right? Then they have 5 hitters that are just banging. Carson Kelly, Michael Busch, PCA, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, all banging. And this is a great lineup, dude. This is a great lineup. They need one more arm, as we saw on Sunday. Cade Horton, I think, does Cade Horton start a playoff game? Does he take that step forward enough? Because the stuff could get, you see what I'm saying? Like, does he start a playoff game?
Maybe you're hoping, right? I mean, Imanaga, like, you're hoping to be a little bit healthier by then.
What do you want the rotation to be? What do you want the playoff rotation to be?
Well, right. I think Imanaga, I think Taillon feels like the game 3 guy, and then Boyd, who's been pitching great.
Yeah.
It's just having both of them doesn't feel like enough, right? That's not a lot of fastballs over. I mean, think about that. How many playoff rotations in the first 3 games as currently constituted would you basically not see a fastball over 95?
That's the thing. It
That's a
feels
short
like they
list.
need a game 2 starter.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, remember, they were going to trade for Luzardo. They backed out because of medical concerns. Maybe that was a good decision. Maybe it was bad. We'll see. Sandy Alcantara also seemed like a target. I guess he would still be an interesting target, but we know his ERA is like 8 right now. So Cubs are also probably top 3 teams I'm most interested in for July because they are playing great. This team so far has made Jed feel more comfortable on the hot seat that he is still on, but should also empower him to be aggressive.
More likely to start a playoff game, Sandy Alcantara or Cade Horton? Not for the Cubs, just in general.
Oh, I think Sandy. The other thing with Cade Horton is I think from an inning standpoint, that's also going to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
I think they're both under 15% though.
Yeah.
But that's a fun one.
Alcantara for Alcantara challenge trade, Kevin for Sandy.
Ooh, does he seem like a Marlin? Is that enough to get Sandy? I don't know. Let's move on to St. Louis. The Cardinals, I mean, they're hanging around here. Again, still 4 back of the Cubs, but they're playing well. Sonny Gray's awesome on Friday, 6 1/3 scoreless. Cardinals win that one easily, 5-0. Then on Saturday, Yamamoto back at it, right? Struggles on Sunday Night Baseball, and then he shows up and just deals. Unfortunately, the Dodgers offense was not really showing up in this one. They could not score against Eric Fetty. They do score against Ryan Helsley in the top of the 9th, but the Cardinals walk it off against Ben Kasparias in his second inning of work in the bottom half. Nolan Arenado, a walk-off single over a 5-man infield to left field. It was kind of a weird batted ball, but the Cardinals win that one 2-1. Going for the sweep on Sunday, they're facing Clayton Kershaw, still throwing 89 miles an hour, but Kershaw shows up. 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, no walks. Mookie hits a homer. Dodgers win 7-3. Dodgers facing off one hell of a 10-day stretch here. Finally playing the Padres, finally playing the Giants. 3 at San Diego, 3 at home against the Giants, 4 at home against the Padres. That is their next 10 days. Cardinals, who are the Cardinals playing this week? They are 1 game back of Philadelphia for the 3rd wildcard spot. And this week, they are playing the Blue Jays, who are also playing quite well. But yeah, well, what else you got on the series?
I loved the Clayton Kershaw versus the Cardinals playing the video of Matt Adams homering off of him in the 2014 NLDS on a loop. Having it play on a loop feels like unnecessarily mean, but also kind of funny. Kershaw said, quote, "I think it's a little bush league, but I don't expect anything less from these guys, so it's no worries." That game, Kershaw is one of just 4 players who appeared in that game that are still playing in the big leagues. Can you name the other 3? Because if you're Clayton Kershaw, you're like, okay, yeah, clown on me for this. Guess what? I'm still here.
I was going to say, and by the way, the Dodgers have accomplished a whole lot more since 2014 than the Cardinals. Tell me, who are they?
Justin Turner.
Yep.
Randall Grichuk.
Barely, but yes. Oh, yeah, Randall Grichuk.
Shelby Miller.
Oh, 2 snakes. How about that? That's funny. I wonder if they are also watching that.
Shelby Miller, who started that game for the Cardinals and was better than Kershaw.
Yeah. Shelby Miller, who could also be a fun trade deadline chip.
Yeah.
But not as a starting pitcher.
So the Cardinals, we expected to be one of these teams dealing away at the deadline. And I think a lot of GMs, we saw this in Jeff Passan's piece last week, a lot of GMs were like, oh no, the Cardinals aren't selling. Like, where will the pieces come from? They'll come from the Diamondbacks. Like, other teams.
They'll come from the teams that are worse than the Cardinals.
Yeah, like there will be teams, right? Like, don't worry, everybody. You won't get
gonna be the Cardinals, probably.
Ryan Helsley, but like you'll get Zach Gallen.
Yeah. I could still see them. I don't know. Helsley just Like, could they pull off a trade the closer, even though we're sort of in it? Move?
No, because Chaim Bloom's not running the team right now. Johnny Moe is still in charge. It is his last year as the Pobo. There is no chance they do 1 foot in, 1 foot out, sell Helsley at the deadline to keep the future intact. That's not what, Johnny Moe is still the dude with his finger on the trigger right now, as far as trades at the big league level goes. And he's not doing that. Like, he's not. Sure, you want to leave the place in a better place.
From a clubhouse standpoint, I agree with you. I'm mostly bringing it up because Ryan Helsley also just hasn't been that good.
Sure, okay, but
so
you're not.
It's like, if they think that he's also not as good as, if they think that some other team is still paying him like he's the best reliever or one of the best relievers in baseball, or will trade them a top 50 prospect, which again feels unlikely. Whatever.
No,
I agree with you though. There will be other teams that are going to be a lot more active than
Cardinals. Are too good for that to happen. Jordan, let's take a break, and when we get back, we will go into turbo mode.
Welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. We were going to talk about the Angels and Mariners at length, but the Angels could not complete the sweep, so they go into turbo mode. Before we turbo mode through the remaining 8 series, we got some big news. This is kind of a big deal.
Corbin Burnes has been kind of a big deal for a long time now. He received kind of a big deal from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and therefore his elbow going kablooey is also kind of a big deal. Burnes will undergo Tommy John surgery, and obviously will be out for the remainder of this season and a good chunk of next season. This has multiple levels of impact. Let's start with Burnes himself. He has an opt-out after next season. This was an important part of the contract, right? It was, he can go pitch at home for 2 years while his newborn twins are young. And if he is Corbin Burnes for 2 years, he can then opt out at the end of the second season, retest the market. Because of the timeline here, that feels incredibly unlikely. He is going to miss a good chunk of 2026. I would now expect him to remain a Diamondback for a while. I don't think he has opts every year. It's not a rolling situation, right? It's just after the second year. So in a weird way, the Diamondbacks guarantee themselves probably, they lose a year of Burnes here, which was baked in to every pitcher contract. They lose 2, they use a year and a half, whatever, but they then gain 4 on the back end because he's probably not going to opt out. Now, I'm not saying this is a good thing, and this is not a good thing because it dramatically changes the playoff odds for the Diamondbacks in 2025 and makes them very likely to sell at the deadline. That is the massive impact, and it is why this kind of a big deal will probably lead to more big deals. Hey, not involving Corbin Burnes, involving Diamondbacks playing for other teams in the second half of the season.
Yeah, so 4 years and $140 million is what is going to be remaining on that contract after next season. Whether or not this is good or bad news for the Diamondbacks is probably going to depend a lot on how Corbin Burnes looks next season. Whether we see Corbin Burnes next season, full Tommy John here in June could mean we don't see him next year. Now, unfortunately, because this is all too common, and fortunately, because it gives us something to compare it to, there's a pretty obvious comparison, and that's Jacob deGrom, who got Tommy John 6 starts into his Rangers contract. And then we know the Rangers went on to win the World Series, and they were fine without him. But he then does not come back until the very, very tail end of 2024 in a season that was, lost for the Rangers at that point. And then now we are seeing him now, and he looks great. Now, the optimistic interpretation of what's going to happen with Burnes is that he's younger than deGrom is when deGrom got surgery. And so by the time he comes back, in theory, he could still be closer to his prime. And as we are seeing now with deGrom, also someone who's been one of the best pitchers of the generation, we know deGrom's at a higher level of even Burnes, but there is reason to think that Corbin Burnes could come back and in 2027 be pretty good. And on the Diamondbacks, which, as we said, we didn't know was necessarily going to be the case. Maybe he comes back at the end of next year and looks good enough to opt out. That seems super unlikely. But as you mentioned, maybe they do get 4 more years of Corbin Burnes. Where the Diamondbacks roster is, where their pitching staff is in particular, because of how much turnover we are going to see at the end of this year, let alone next year, is very difficult to say. But the biggest outcome is still what we already talked about earlier, which is just what it means for Arizona. He had generally been what you could hope for, right? I mean, he had a 2.66. He was looking like Corbin Burnes. Maybe he didn't look like the best pitcher in the league, but he was a steadying presence in a rotation that just hadn't had any of those. And now they just have to completely reconsider the whole season. And that sucks for him. That sucks for them. And I do agree that it will definitely impact how we talk about them leading up to next month's trade deadline. And it just sucks because Corbin Burnes he's been a constant, right? He has been one of the durable ones, but that doesn't mean anything when you are a pitcher pitching in 2025. So while it has been nice to say, like, yeah, that's the guy you pay because he's always pitching, we just know that it just doesn't mean anything. We've seen it time and time again. And so it's pretty random. You could view it as, well, that means he's more likely to get it because he's thrown so much. To me, it's all pretty random, and it sucks that this is how this goes. Sometimes paying pitchers works out great, and sometimes it is a huge burden on your franchise. And we've seen both of those versions plenty over the last decade.
Pitcher elbows are like celebrity moral codes. It's like, it's just a matter of time before you get disappointed.
Interesting way to phrase that. Let's go fast. It's time for Turbo Mode. 8 more series to go.
Faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am lightning.
I feel the need for speed.
It's turbo time.
And let's begin with that series do you actually know? You go ahead. You start us off, Jake. I'll let you start wherever you want. Go ahead.
The Fighting Ishbias can't lose. Let's go, baby. The White Sox taking 2 out of 3 over the Royals. 5-run explosion in game 1. Davis Martin, that's the name of a pitcher on the White Sox. He was hyped. This is via Chuck Garvian saying, the thing we put on the field tonight, I'm glad 36,000 people got to see it because that's who we are. That's what we're capable of. Things are looking up on the South Side. They win game 2. Adrian Hauser, 6 strong, 1 earned. Elko and Mydroth go deep. Game 3, though, Royals avoid getting swept. Vinny is heating up for them. Homers in those first 2 games. Cags, 4 hits, all Rockets. We'll talk a little bit more about him on Wednesday. Royals are weird. White Sox, there's sun down there on the South Side. It's great.
Yeah. White Sox couldn't quite get their first sweep of the season, but a series win
coming.
nonetheless.
It's coming.
It's coming for them. Let's stay in the AL Central, where the Houston Astros arrived in Cleveland and looked pretty good. Colton Gordon gets his first career win on Friday. Astros win 4-2. Hunter Brown versus Gavin Williams on Saturday was enjoyable. I was there for most of that one. Hunter Brown, 9 strikeouts, 5 walks, but his stuff is so damn good. Guardians come back late, but the Astros score 2 in the top of the 10th to win that one. Jose Ramirez homers again. He is amazing, but the Astros win 5-3. And then on Sunday, Guardians salvage the series. Tanner Bibee's great. Bo Naylor, 3 hits and a homer. Clase, 14th save. Is he fixed? Not really, but he certainly looks better than he did in April. Guardians win 4-2. John Kenzie Noel sent down. Finally, I love the guy. He cannot hit right now, and it was time to send him back to Columbus.
Padres taking 2 out of 3 over the Brewers, proving once and for all that fatherhood is more important than beer creation. Game 1, Randy Vasquez, our favorite soft tossing. Is he soft tossing? No, he's just strikeoutless weirdo. 4 2/3 with 2 hits, 4 walks, 2 Ks. Sure. Manny Machado, his ding dong off Chad Patrick, that's enough, right? I guess, it wasn't off Chad Patrick, but the Machado's homer does the job.
Chad Patrick would never.
Chad Patrick could never. Game 2, Caleb Durbin, walk-off home run. What is this timeline that we're living in? Watch you bear off of Robert Suarez. Like, I couldn't believe it. Jose Quintana, awesome in that game too. He is a 2.66 The eternal perfect brewer who had never been a brewer and is now inevitably a brewer is living out his truth. Game 3, though, Padres take this. Machado goes yard off of Rob Z, who's been good for the Brewers. Padres win 1-0. Machado's OPS up to 897, dude. This is...
Dude, Machado is cooking right now. He looks fantastic. Padres bullpen is fantastic. Durbin's homer was not off Robert Suarez. Let's not give him too much credit.
Sorry.
It was off the last reliever on the Padres bullpen, David Morgan, undrafted. Great story, but thanks for giving up that homer to Durbin. It was really cool.
You're right, because the video of the walk-off is like, it's the Fox broadcast, right? It's AJ Brzezinski going, man, these Padres, it feels like whoever they bring out of the bullpen is great. Boom.
Well, Robert Suarez, he did his job. 21st save of the year as the Padres win 1-0 on Sunday. Blue Jays taking 2 out of 3 over the Twins. They win a bullpen game on Friday. Addison Barger continues to rake. Royce Lewis continues to not rake, although actually he did have a decent weekend, but the overall season line still no bueno. Jays win Friday 6-4. On Saturday, Kevin Gausman, Chris Paddock both go 6 innings. George Springer with the go-ahead homer in the 8th. Cody Clemens homers again for the Twins somehow, but the Jays hang on, win 5-4. Sunday, Bowden Francis was bad. Minnesota bullpen was good. Twins win 6-3 to ensure they do not get swept. Blue Jays have won 8 of their last 10. They're tied with the Rays in second place in the American League East. Speaking of the Rays take 2 out of 3 over the Marlins. Zach Littell, fantastic on Friday. Pete Fairbanks gets the save. Junior Caminero hits 2 doubles. He is so much fun. Rays win 4-3. Game 2, probably one of the worst baseball games of the year. The Marlins allow 5 homers and win 11-10 in extra innings. Only the second time a team's allowed 5 homers and won this season. Game 3, the Rays stopper Drew Rasmussen takes the hill, and though his 23-inning scoreless streak came to an end, he was still fantastic. Yandy homers, and the Rays win 3-2. Big news for the Miami Marlins. Yuri Perez, one of my favorite pitchers in the league, is back. He is making his return from elbow surgery on Monday night. I cannot wait to watch that.
Drew Rasmussen has a 2.22 ERA, which is only the 8th lowest in the AL.
Dude, the AL Cy Young race is so much fun. Like
Bubic, Eovaldi, Fried, Brown, Molly, DeGrom, Skubal, Rasmussen, Crochet after Rasmussen.
Yeah. Pretty good. Rangers over the Washington Nationals. Blink and you missed it on Friday. 1 hour and 50 minutes. Patrick Corbin, a complete game loss against his former team as Mike Soroka outduels him and the Nationals win 2-0. That is hilarious. So
it was unwritten as Natasha Bedingfield performed after the game. Like Natasha Bedingfield post-game concert after a 1 hour, 50-minute Nats win. I mean, does it get better than that? The FOMO I felt because I was in Nats Park all week before this and everyone was amped for Natasha. I had to come back to New York. Man, game 2, Jacob deGrom, better than Natasha Bedingfield. 7 scoreless, 2 hits, 8 Ks. Thanks for showing up. Game was close until the 8th. Rangers end up winning 5-0. Marcus Semien starting to look a little bit better. Game 3, Evan Carter and Jake Berger go yard. Rangers bullpen 5 2/3 scoreless after Jacob Latz starts. I think this was Kamar Rocker got sent down to AAA. I think this might have been his window, but the Rangers win anyway 4-2. A's over the Orioles. Orioles show up to the series on a W6. They leave on an L1 as they drop games 1 and 3 with a 5-out Mason Miller save on Friday night. Sure,
they needed to stop the bleeding. They needed to get that dub, and they did.
A's win. Jacob Wilson 3 hits. He's so good, dude. Game 2, O's overcome a bad Charlie Morton outing. Colton Cowser has been awesome since he's got back off the IL. Ramon Laureano is going to be a sneaky, nice trade deadline addition for someone. He is a hardo, but he can hit the ball right now, which is impressive. Severino has been blah for the Sacktown A's. O's bullpen goes 6 2/3 scoreless in that one. Game 3, Sugano with a stinker. 2 more Jacob Wilson hits. He's hitting .372. A's win 5-1. This is the A's first series win since May 2nd to the 4th in Miami. Weird club. I may be out there next week. It depends on whether I go to Omaha, which we will preview on Wednesday. The one thing I'll say, yeah?
Oh. Well, we totally skipped the Angels and Mariners. You just really don't want to talk about this. This is the thing.
My bad.
Shame on you. Let me do this quickly.
Go ahead.
Angels, 2 out of 3. Could have been a sweep, but Andres Munoz said, no. Game 1, Kyle Hendricks' 100th win of his career. Angels win this one 5-4. Bryce Miller is just straight up pitching through an injury. He basically admitted it, and he looks very bad, and it is a bad thing that is going on with the Mariners, of which there are many. Game 2, Julio Rodriguez gets hit by a Randy Arozarena line drive while running the bases, and it's like, oh my God, did they really just lose Julio? No, he's fine. He was back in the lineup on Sunday. This Cal Raleigh guy keeps hitting home runs. He has 26 home runs. We are now well past wow, pretty good for a catcher. Now he's just on a historic home run pace, completely regardless of the position that he's playing. And I just cannot quite wrap my mind around it. Luis Castillo was extremely disappointing on Saturday. The Angels score in 6 consecutive innings. Mariners lose their 5th in a row. Joe Adell hits 2 homers. Angels win 8-6. And then on Sunday, George Kirby said, it stops here. 14 strikeouts, 0 walks. One of the best pitch games of the season. Matt Brash and Andres Munoz pitched for the first time in a week, and they shut it down. Angels strike out 18 times on the day. Munoz strikes out Trout to end it. Mariners win 3-2. Mariners are not playing well. They really needed that one. George Kirby looked great. He hadn't looked great yet, so that was really nice to see. 2.5 back of the Astros, and again, the Astros aren't very good either. So I think whoever wins this division, it's going to be 85, 86. It was 88 last year, and I don't know if we're getting to 88 this year for any of these teams. So they're still in it. I think they're going to be aggressive next month, but it has been a rough stretch. They have benefited from the Braves being an even bigger disaster and playing on the West Coast where people aren't really paying attention.
Do you know their run differential on the season?
There were fat 0 right now. We're back at even, baby, but they are still, I think, 2 games over 500.
They're 2 games over 500. So. I like that the MLB.com standings page says that they're at +0, but it really feels like -0.
I agree. I like that, but it's in green instead of red, so it makes me feel good. Anyway, that's it. As you were saying, you might be going to Omaha.
Yeah.
We know, as the time of this recording on Monday morning, we know 7 of the 8 teams that will be there. Murray State versus Duke in Game 3 tonight. Can Murray State, the 4 seed, can the Racers shock the Blue Devils? This would be a tough look for Duke, who has come so close to the World Series multiple times over the last half decade or so. And if they lose a home super regional to Murray State, yikes. That said, interesting field shaping up. We will preview the College World Series on Wednesday, but any big picture thoughts from Super Regional Weekend?
Yeah, the most interesting thing is it is the first time in this era of college baseball since 1999, when the Super Regional structure started, that there are no repeat Omaha teams. None of the teams that made it last year will be there this year. That is the first time that has happened.
Literally none. Oh, wow.
Literally none.
Oh, that's great. I kind of love that. I mean, it's very strange, but that is very, very weird.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So it's gonna be a strange World Series, but we are certainly looking forward to it. We will do more of that later on this week. So check out Duke and Murray State for sure. All right, that's it. We're done. Thank you all for listening to this episode of Baseball Barbacast. Thank you to Andrew Hartz and TJ Brassel for producing as always. We will talk to you all on Wednesday. Bye-bye.